I'm former Special Smith of the U.S. Army Infantry, and this is an illustration of what God wanted Himself to be described. God told me that He wanted to look identical to the two holy angels that I saw, but with a bigger head, because His head date back before the Big Bang. So He has a bigger and larger brain mass than any Homo sapien superior, any Homo sapien extraterrestrial superior, or any Homo sapien extraterrestrial inferior, which will be us men. This is the origin of how the extraterrestrial Homo sapien superior theory came into the world through me. And the extraterrestrial Homo sapien superior theory is the new Darwin theory. This guy right here, God, went through the Darwin theory. If he's really a God, then he can also shapeshift. So it makes sense that he went through the Darwin theory and became this being right here. When he became this being, then he's got all this cloning technology, medical technology, and science and biology. And then he created this planet. He came down to the planet, took from the dust of this world and created Adam. Now, the Homo sapien superior theory came into existence when I was off duty at my mother's house. I used to go pray behind a Winn-Dixie to the identical to how Elijah the prophet did in 1st and 2nd Kings in the Bible. And I saw a star do a Z shape once. I saw a big, massive, huge ball of light come through the atmosphere, paused in midair, and then a perfect right triangle back into outer space. And about 7 days later, Michael and Gabriel teleported me out of my house into their real true life Star Trek Voyager, revealed themselves to me, showed me that they had 5 fingers just like I did, and then teleported me back after we communicated with each other. And then as years went on, I got out of the Army, I got Netflix, I started just reviewing Star Trek Voyager, and I saw a whole bunch of similarities that happened. But since I met Michael and Gabriel, and this is what they look like, I called these people right here extraterrestrial only because you see their heads are egg-shaped and they got the crown of life over their head and they're not from planet Earth. I call them extraterrestrial Homo sapien superiors. Why? Because they do not grow old and they do not die. Me and you are extraterrestrial Homo sapien inferiors because we do grow old and we do die. And yes, we are mortal angels. We are the same as them, but the mortal version. And yes, we are extraterrestrials because we're living in the universe. If you don't believe me, look up at the sky in the morning, you see the planet you live on, and then look up at the sky at night and you see the section of the universe you exist in. You are an extraterrestrial identical to these people as well. Now, this is this right here, what I'm about to show you is the program that the commercial that I saw when I was teleported out of my mother's house. Okay, it's Star Trek Voyager Season 1, Episode 9, Prime Factors. Is the name of this episode. I know this is is a something that the angels really wanted me to watch, because that's why they waited for this commercial to be on TV and then teleported me out of my mother's house the instant the commercial was over. The split second, down to this millisecond that the commercial was over, then they teleported me. And I just want to let the world know they love Star Trek Voyager. And Star Trek Voyager is their most favorite Star Trek out of all the Star Treks that was made. That's Star Trek Enterprise, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Star Trek The Next Generation, Star Trek, the original. Out of all of them, they love Star Trek Voyager, and I'm finna show you why. After I started studying Star Trek Voyager, I started seeing stuff that was similar to what they talked about and also what they did. This right here is what it looks like when I saw Michael and Gabriel. I was in a monochromatic environment. And I'm just let Janeway explain it better than me. Reason why I call it a monochromatic environment because I totally lost my color vision and I could see nothing but black and white. And once again, there's a monochromatic environment in Star Trek Voyager. And the Homo Sapien Superiors, the Extraterrestrial Homosapien Superiors from outer space, teleported me into their monochromatic environment in their Bay Area in a real true life Star Trek Voyager. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? They did not want to experiment on me. They did not want to cut me open. All they wanted to do was knock down the walls of segregation between our two species and do contact of the third kind in communication. They told me that men, the reason why they're segregating themselves is because men are always looking for an excuse to whoop or beat someone up, and angels are always looking for an excuse to be someone's friend. And so that's one of the main reasons they talked about why they are segregating themselves from us for some strange reason. But let's let Janeway explain what it is.
A monochromatic environment?
It's called black and white.
A monochromatic environment. It's called black and white. Okay, now in this scene, I'm going to show you after they teleported me what was going on. Tom Paris and Harry Ken is playing the role in the vision I'm trying to show. The Star Trek Voyager writers and the biogeologists out there who might be watching this and scientists. What I'm trying to show is what was happening. And also this is another scene that was portrayed in real life that is also, I noticed it was in Star Trek Voyager. When they teleported me, they were talking they turned their heads, talking amongst themselves, talking as if I was there, but then I wasn't there. I have to kind of say, identical to how Tom Paris and Harry Ken is going to do to the hologram that they're gonna that's a malfunction that they're gonna teleport. But here it is. I'm gonna try to explain it.
Computer, display Fairhaven character Michael Sullivan.
Okay, this is me being teleported. The hologram's playing the role of me. I looked at Mike and Gabriel. I never seen nothing like that a day in my life. Mike and Gabriel are looking at each other, talking to each other, looking at me, talking to me. But the only difference between me and Michael Sullivan, the hologram, is that I wasn't scared, I wasn't nervous. I was amazed, and I wanted to communicate with them. I didn't want to do what Jacob did and rush after them and fight them and wrestle them. I kind of figured if I hold a conversation with them, I can learn more talking to them than I can battling them. And
how are you feeling, Michael?
Now I'm about to show you a good. One day I was just scanning through Star Trek episodes. I never really watched Star Trek, the original Star Trek, so I just decided to watch it on Netflix. And then lo and behold, the very first episode ever shown to the world in Star Trek has characters that are similar but not identical to the guys that I saw. And I'm going to show you another thing that's just coincidental or it's spooky. Maybe the guys that did Star Trek met these guys before I did. And they tried to write stories about great possibilities of what they could be. But now that I'm here, the translator, I can tell you exactly what's going on because the scriptures is my guide. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Star Trek episode 1 or 0 or whatever you want to call it, whatever it is. It doesn't have a name. There's no name up there, but there is a title. But this is almost kind of identical, but not identical. Similar, but not identical to what I saw. I saw 2 regular white men from the eyebrows down that stood about 68 inches. We were eye level. From the eyebrows up, they had egg-shaped heads, and they had the crown of life floating over their head. They were nude. They didn't have no clothes on. I didn't see any chest nipples. I didn't see a belly button. I didn't see any pubic hair or genitalia of any sort. And they had 5 fingers and 5 toes. I'm talking about they look 100% like any white man that you see walking up and down the street. The only difference is that, their heads are egg-shaped and they have the crown of life floating over their head. And God wants, and I used to talk to God and try to convince God to let me make his pigmentation dark. Because if you go down to the bottom of the ocean, you bring those animals up, they always want to have pigmentation in their skin. So I kind of figured if God existed in the universe before the Big Bang, when there was total darkness, when he said let there be light, he would have had pigmentation in his skin. But God straight up said, no, make me just like the angels that you saw, but only with a bigger head. And God does not want me to color his skin brown. And he wants me to make sure that he looks identical to the angels that I showed you, but with a bigger head. And the illustration of the angels that I saw, Michael and Gabriel, I also have my artist also drew me a copy of them. And I'm about to place it before y'all right now. There it is. That's what Michael and Gabriel look like. And God is the one with the biggest head. These are the extraterrestrial Homosapien Superiors. And this is the new Darwin Theory. These guys are trillions of years older than us, most likely. And they went through the Darwin Theory, and they created Adam, the Bushman tribe man, with their technology, science, or medical technology, or a combination of both, in their laboratory. Whether if the laboratory was planted on planet Earth, or if the laboratory was stationed above the atmosphere, or the laboratory was stationed on their planet of origin. Mankind is not original from this section of the universe. And these guys are existing in other blue planets that coexist with us in the universe. And all heaven is just another solar system out there in the universe. And it is perfect and it's Homo sapien friendly for all Homo sapiens from all sections of the universe dwelling in one section. And if heaven and hell do exist, either way it goes, they still exist in the universe because they cannot exist outside of the universe. Remember, folks, when you look up at the sky in the morning, you see the planet you exist on. And when you look up at the sky at night, you see the section of the universe you exist in. Smith out.